You've seen the display cabinet full of painted miniatures, but that's not the end of the story. Let's have a look at the pile of shame, unpainted, unassembled, unfinished miniatures littering my home. First of all, we've got a couple of models for my Night Stalker Kings of War army. One of them is a Dungeons and Lasers dragon. We've got horrible tentacly conversion there, so who knows if they'll ever get finished. The same could possibly be said for this Caradron Overlord's Ironclad, which as you can see is partly painted, but it's been in that state for quite a while. As we move down the shelves, you can see there are some Walking Dead miniatures there. Various dwarves waiting to be added to my ranks. This one, we've got some Stormcast Eternals, got some partly painted Ether Wings. We've got the Lord Castellant, and then we've got some Abyssal Dwarf Decimators as well for Kings of War at the back there. Then we've got the base for my Caradron Overlord's Ironclad, which is way more complete than the model actually is. And right next to that we have a box that contains some more Stormcast Eternals. We've got some Questa Soulsworn, we've got Knight Vexilor, Knight Arcanum in there as well. Next to the paint racks we've got the Celestant Prime and some Rascal Town Goblins. Over to this shelf we've got various dwarves for the old world. Most of these are fresh purchases, some of them still in their packaging. As we head on down here, there's even more Slayers. We've got some Bad Squiddo blister packs there. And as we move on down here, we've got various random Caradron Overlords. Some of them are actually part of the Ironclad, and obviously not finished. And then we've got a character there. We've got some at the back, not even started the paintwork on them. Down here we've got more dwarves on the floor next to all the rule books. So now that we've finished the miniatures surrounding me at my desk, let's go on to this container of totally unopened, untouched miniatures. We've got some Stormcast Eternals, Evocators and Dracolines, who are going to be deleted in a year's time. We've got another Dungeons and Lasers dragon. This time we've got the Sovereign Serpent. We've got an Arcanaut frigate for the Caradron Overlords. We've got a big box of Endless Spells. I've only painted a couple of those, there's still quite a lot in there. Caradron Overlords Start Collecting box. Most of the models haven't been taken out of there yet. Some random Mantic terrain pieces. And then we've got an Endrin Master, Drecky Flint, Torque Lenson, and a Code Right. So lots of Caradron Overlords. You can tell I haven't been prioritising this army lately. We've got my Old World Bretonian army. So we've got various heroes in this bag, not even been debagged. We've got a Paladin, we've got a Lord with a Lance, and we've got some Damsels there as well. We've got the Green Knight, Questing Knights Command, Questing Knights. We've got a Battle Standard Bearer. We've got the Trebuchet here. Inside the box we've got Grail Knights, Grail Knight Command. We've got all the rest of the models from the army box, other than the Men-at-Arms and the Archers. Okay, we're now under the bed. We've got the various bits of tentacles and faces in there, probably going to be used for conversions. We've got a very nice bits box there. I wouldn't classify anything in there as a full-on miniature, probably, so I don't think that counts towards the pile of shame. We've got a bag of zombies. These might be Fenris Games, actually. I'd have to check on that, but I think that's what they are. We've got loads more of the Walking Dead miniatures and some Majestic Feet miniatures halflings. Undead halflings at that. And there we've got some Dead Zone terrain bits. We've got some Age of Sigmar terrain in here. And we've got a giant, horrible, gribbly Fenris Games giant as well. With tentacles, pustules, all kinds of stuff. We've got various Dead Zone and Warpath Forge Fathers here, including this gun in a bag. More Forge Fathers underneath. Various sprues there. Quite a few sprues. And at the bottom, some fully assembled ones as well. So lots of Forge Fathers. Weird assortment of miniatures here. We've got some Bad Squiddo little robots in there. We've got the 2015 Salute miniature. Woo! And some other random stuff that I don't really recognise. We've got more Fenris Games resin miniatures. Some trolls, I think. Evil pustule-covered trolls. We've got some World War II Soviet tanks for bolt action. And some more Bad Squiddo Soviets in there, I think. So these might see some action one day. If I get back into playing bolt action, then I'm sure I would need some tanks for my Soviets. We've got an anti-air gun here as well, which I was going to use for my Belgians. Okay, the next underbed crate, and you can tell it's getting dustier. We've got some more Stormcast Eternals, got some Castigators, got some Vindictors, in various states of paint. In this one, we've got what appears to be some Kings of War goblin stuff. There's some random orcs, some abyssal dwarves, some Space Marine metal characters, an owl bear, Nagash's arm. I don't have an entire Nagash, but I do have his arm apparently, and the body of an ancient bloodthirster. We've got random dark elves in there as well. Cracking this box open, what have we got? We've got some Necromunda corpse grinders. We've got some random Chaos Space Marines from the old, was it Dark Vengeance, the starter set that had Dark Angels and Chaos in there. We've got an ogre. We have a random crocodile with weapons. We've got some ghouls, some Space Marines. There's probably quite a few Dark Angels in here with heavy weapons, because I never actually finished that squad. A random Chaos Squat, I think, there at the bottom, with no arm. Hell Comes to Frogtown. We've got a big mantic burrowing creature. We've got a giant crab, I think it's Titan Forge. And this is actually going to be used in my Sons of Behemat army for Age of Sigmar as Krabnos. Currently living in an ice cream tub. We've got loads of random Dead Zone terrain bits in here, so I wouldn't count that as shameful. We've got loads of bagged miniatures in here. What do we have? We've got some birds, some murder birds from Dead Zone probably there. We've got some Mars Attacks miniatures in here, some random spiders. I think this could be Wasteman. At the bottom we've got all kinds of random stuff. There's random Mantic bits in there, some Imperial Guard possibly down there. We've got a dire weasel. We've got sprues of Night Stalkers for Kings of War. We've got some Caradron Overlords. I think this is the Warcry faction. And then we've got some random bits. Okay, what do we have in here? Some Drop Zone Commander stuff, unpainted. We've got the Goblin Wingit for Kings of War. We've got a Skeleton Knight from Ye Old Warhammer. And another one down there as well, actually I've just spotted with no arm. We've got a policeman from World War II. This is definitely Wasteman. Is this Radical Trevor, perhaps? We've got some guinea pigs and rabbits with weapons mounted on them from Bad Squiddo. Also under the bed, we've got a box of relics stuff. So we've got the kind of recent Britannian little mini chariot. We've got a load of Orknar. We've got tons of metal Vatir, who I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to doing anything with, but someone was selling them on Facebook a while ago, and the price was reasonable enough for me, and it's the one faction of the originals that I never had any models for, and not knowing if the game would ever come back, decided to snap them up. Got some new M pieces there as well. Could probably make a complete Dedicatus from what's in there. Loads of Dead Zone sprues. So we've got some Veermin, loads of Veermin sprues, loads of Veermin heroes. I think these are from starter sets that I got mostly for the terrain, so I never got round to building these. We've got the complete Age of Sigmar Skaventide box. Totally untouched, not done anything at all with the miniatures in here yet. So we've got all the Skaven forces, which I've been meaning to put on eBay, but haven't got round to it yet. And obviously there's some very nice Stormcast lurking under there as well, even though I already have way too many Stormcast. There you go, look at that, that's a Stormcast leg, if ever I've seen one. Then what's this? Warhammer Age of Sigmar Dominion, what could be in here? Well, quite a few of the miniatures from Dominion, untouched, because I did get a second one of these at some point, but didn't assemble most of them. So there's still some Cruel Boys in here as well, and various Stormcast units still there, untouched. You saw the Yndrasta on this sprue, I won't need a second one of those. More heroes at the bottom. So yeah, this one is mostly complete, I think. Not much has been taken out of here. So if anyone wants to buy any Cruel Boys, let me know. We are still not done, because there's a box here of a lot of Mantic Dreadball teams and some resin Dead Zone stuff. So we've got some Nameless, we've got some, could this be perhaps Maison Labs? Some more of them. And here's all the Dreadball stuff. So loads of teams, loads of Dreadball teams. And I think we've got more Mars Attacks here as well. And more resin Dead Zone Nameless. Lots of Dreadball accessory bits in here as well. I think I've got a load of coaches and cheerleaders in here. Even more Mars Attacks. We've got a Kings of War Empire of Dust catapult. We've got a hideous monster of some description. We've got sprues for Sons of Baymat. You can see they're resting on a classic Dragon Strike box here. So they're even obstructing my board game access. We've got a random box of Space Marine Terminators and some Mantic points in there. I'll take those. And some Necrons. So these Dark Angels Terminators, I stopped playing 40k, so I never completed the unit, and now they look very small next to the new ones. So here we've got my attempt at building and painting a Grot Mega Tank, which is a combination of, there's some ramshackle bits in there, there's some other model companies, and there's a bit of Forge World in there as well. It's just a big combo of bits stuck together to make it kind of a cool looking tank, but never really did anything with it. Random Necron sprues, woo! And one of my Abyssal Dwarf bases. I don't know what model was going to go on there. What do we have in here? Rune Wars miniatures. And even more down here. So the company discontinued the game. So a lot of shops were selling off the stock for a very low price. So I snapped up some of them. And I've used some of them in my Night Stalker's army, some of the Carrion Lancers. But there's still several boxes left here. So just imagine if I was to get all that stuff painted, I'd probably need at least another display unit this size. But the chances of me painting all that stuff, very slim. And if I could be bothered, I would have sold some of it already. It may well be making its way to eBay at some point, the various unpainted miniatures, because, as you can see, I've got quite a vast collection already. And I don't know if I'm ever going to need as much as I currently own. So let me know if you spotted anything that was particularly interesting in the pile of shame, and how does it compare to your own? Ta-ta for now.